Before podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, and satellite, there was terrestrial radio. It was a gateway to our favorite music, sports, news, weather, and traffic updates. The radio DJs served as the conduit between us and the media. Over the years, there have been DJs who have become bigger than the medium itself. Men like Casey Kasem, Scott Shannon, Don Imus, and of course Howard Stern. But there was another man who, while building his radio career, had a desire to push boundaries, had an eye for talent, and went on to create the greatest and most famous radio duo in history, Opie and Anthony. While the Opie and Anthony show could be the subject of its own documentary, today we are choosing to focus on the man who made it possible, Gregg Opie Hughes. His career spanned almost 4 decades, and during that time he made millions of dollars, helped to launch the careers of many stand-up comics, unknowingly paved the way for podcasting, and somehow ended up being relentlessly mocked and hated by his ex-colleagues, fans, podcasts, and ex-friends of the show. How does that happen? In this series, we're going to try to gain some insight into the man behind the microphone. We will go back to the beginning and explore his childhood and the start of his radio career, long before the O&A show. We will discuss his meteoric rise once he paired up with Anthony, and how that led to him becoming not only famous, but also notorious for radio stunts gone wrong, and a level of shock jockery that cost him his job more than once. We will talk about how changes in his personal life, relationships, marriage, and becoming a father would not only change his on-air persona, but also the course of the show. Something he railed against when it came to other radio shows in the past.
As soon as you start deciding what's funny, like because you have a kid, you're finished as an as an edgy jock.
You can't put limits on comedy, especially when you do a radio show. There's stuff that we joke about, and it affects me like personally, but whatever. Who am I to say that you shouldn't laugh at something that might have been horrifying to me?
And finally, we will discuss the end of his professional radio career, how it all came crashing down and has left him streaming to hundreds on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, 500 feet above New York City. Gregg Hughes was born in Centerport, New York on May 23, 1963, to parents Fred and Dorothea Hughes. But he almost had a different name.
A little Opie and Anthony trivia. I'd never heard this before on the Fine Radio show, but I was almost Frederick Wilfred Hughes III.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then my mom stepped in and said, F that.
Gregg is fine.
Gregg is fine.
He has an older half-sister from his father's previous marriage and 5 younger brothers and sisters. He has said that depending on the year, he was one of 7, 8, 9, or 10 children.
No, but over the years, I don't tell people how many kids we had in our family because it was always changing. So I now say I was one of 7, 8, 9, 10, depending.
This was due to friends of his siblings being taken in and made members of the family.
Remember Karen?
Yeah, she was one of our sisters at one point.
Do you remember how she came about?
She just showed up one day.
It was our older sister's best friend at the time.
Right.
Her father was getting married, remarried, and so the new wife basically said it's either me or her,
yes.
And the father says it's you and tells the daughter, beat it. What makes it really strange, so then all of a sudden she started living with us, and she was introduced to us very early on as our sister. Very early on. Not my sister's friend. This is your sister Karen.
We just had a sister overnight.
And she had the same color hair as us, I guess, so that's why my mom figured she could
slip her right
in.
His parents tried to give back to the community.
Who else was living in our house? Do you remember?
We had a couple fresh air kids, apparently, that we...
I've talked about the fresh air kids, too.
Kidnapped them for a summer to help in the cement mines.
I talked about the fresh air kids.
For 2 weeks every summer, the Fresh Air Fund sends city kids to the country. Help make it happen for other city kids. The Fresh Air Fund. We all have enough to share.
That's a program that's long gone.
Yeah.
But, a very Catholic neighborhood in Centerport, and every family got a black kid for the summer. For real. And it was kind of cool. And remember we went to Camp Alvernia? Because it was swim day, and everyone brought their Fresh Air Fund kid there. Do you remember this?
Oh, yes. Keep going.
Well, we were good people.
Yes. No, continue on about the Fresh Air Kids and swim day.
That's a good story, right? We were helping people. There was nothing. That's all it is, really. But it seems very strange that that program existed in the way it did. Because people kind of like to show off their kid.
Yes,
is yours athletic? You should see mine. He can jump. It was weird. Anyway, so Karen.
How does one keep that many kids busy and out of trouble? You have them make cement.
We know how to make cement.
We
really know how to make cement.
we did it for years. From age 5.
We could easily work for
moved out of the house.
We could easily work for the mafia. I'm telling you right now, we can make cement big time, but we're not a union, so we're a little nervous. But so we had these cement paths around our house, and then we had cement stairs and paths that went to nowhere because it was my mom's way of keeping us busy, and my dad was in on it. So we're mixing cement 24 hours a day.
Despite being the second born, he claims he wasn't taught a lot of basic skills because no one had time, because there were too many kids. What skills? Well,
I'll tell you one thing. Taking a piss when you got boxer briefs on.
Right.
And a short zipper pants with like a short zipper and a belt. It's like you got to weave your dick through a labyrinth. It's like all kinds of twists and turns it's got to make before you can fucking piss.
Don't you just pull down your boxers?
What? No, I had to go. That's why it's boxer briefs. I had to go through the zipper.
Oh, I never go through the zipper.
And then out the leg of the fucking.
Why?
Because it's all over. It's like. Why would you snaking it out?
You can't pull your pants and your boxers down and still have everything covered?
You like unbutton?
It's just harder.
Gotcha.
You unbutton and pull it all down in the front?
Like a 8-year-old in front of the potty. 8 in front of a potty? What?
I never go through my zipper.
I go through the zipper, too. I know what you're talking about because I wear briefs, and it's like there's it.
What do you mean like an 8-year-old?
Well, because
adults don't do that.
They stand there at the toilet with both hands pulling down
the front
of their pants and just fucking pissing. Standing on the little step stool.
I just, because I'm one of 7, and sometimes it was like one of 10, depending on who they brought in to my house when I was growing up. So I never learned things. Like
why?
Like I don't know how to tie my shoe.
Come on.
I do rabbit ears.
No!
To this day.
Do you still sing the song when you tie your shoe?
I do though.
You make the knot
to this day,
and then you make a loop and a loop and tie the loop together.
To this day.
That's hilarious.
Oh my God!
And I don't even know how to do it the other way.
Stop it! Do you know how to tie a tie?
Sort of.
He also claims to have not started talking until he was 3 years old.
My mom told me I didn't start talking until I was 3.
Really?
Yeah.
How about that?
His upbringing was humble, and his parents were extremely creative when it came to trying to provide for their children. His father once had the family declared a church so they would receive tax-exempt status.
But when I was growing up, my dad was the head of his own church for tax purposes. For real. He was like the head of his own church. He figured this out. And this was pre-internet, so, man, he was really doing his research. And we had to bring tax-exempt certificates around when we were buying stuff. Because if you're the head of a church, you don't pay taxes, my friends. Well, this goes back, we're talking the 70s. I don't know. Right. I think maybe the authorities have figured this one out, and they're shutting down the people that want to be the head of their own churches just to save money on taxes. Well, but at the time, it was legal. I would be a teenager and, going around with my friends and, trying to buy baseball cards or new sneakers, and I had to bring the tax-exempt certificate around. And he's like, did you use the tax-exempt certificate today? I sure did, Dad.
Yeah,
I got to be honest, I never used it. It was such an embarrassment to me growing up that I kind of tucked it in my back pocket. I paid like everyone.
His dad also had a method of disposing of unwanted cars, presumably to be able to report the car stolen for the insurance money.
People from Long Island would bring their cars into the city and then leave them somewhere and then report it stolen.
Wow.
That was a big thing that was going on for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then my dad, and this is a true story, and I don't know, I'll have to get one of my brothers on the air to help me out with the story, because I was doing radio somewhere, but when my dad was getting up there in years, instead of driving to the city to drop off the old family car, he would drop it off like a mile from the house. Do you remember the Friendlies up on 25A there?
Yeah.
Near my parents' house?
Mm-hmm.
He dropped one in the parking lot of Friendlies.
But it's not going to get wrecked.
No.
Like, the reason you take it into the city is so it gets stripped and wrecked.
But then he reported stolen, and then my brothers would go, Dad, I see the whatever car up in the Friendlies parking lot. He's like, oh, no, that's not our car. I'm like, no, Dad, I see, the Geneseo bumper sticker that Gregg gave you when he went to college on it's our car. No, it's not. It's got to be someone else's car.
Oh, man.
He got lazy with his
cops
scheming.
Find it?
I don't remember what happened with that one. That's why I
would have to go somewhere.
That's why I have to ask my brothers what happened. I think they started picking it clean. After a while, they realized this car wasn't moving, and people started taking parts off it.
Would he get the insurance money from it?
I don't remember all the details. I know
nice felony.
I know for a fact that he ended up, leaving one in the Friendlies parking lot.
They tried growing their own vegetables and utilizing their kids as labor.
Instead of our nice yard that we played sports on, had to be a garden so we could save some money on fruits and vegetables.
Wow.
Using our brand new bikes to fucking plow the field. We had to fucking turn over all the dirt. Farmers know what I'm talking about. And then you had to smooth out the dirt. So we got the bright idea. If we attached a big piece of wood to two bikes and drag it across the fucking yard, we could flatten out the dirt faster. It just bounced around.
I would assume it probably,
And then we grew shitty vegetables. Our vegetables looked sick.
Really?
Yes.
Puny little things.
We didn't have the right chemicals and that make it nice and bright and plump.
You go into the store and see these wonderful vegetables all big, and then you're like, oh, this is what we got?
Shitty, man.
One string bean and a fucking...
Yes.
A bent pepper.
Yes.
He even began working as a caddy at the age of 12, giving his wages to his parents to help put food on the table.
They put so much pressure on me financially when I was way too young for it. Way too young. I gave every penny I made to them. Every penny. Paid right up until only a couple of years ago. My entire life. Since 12, when I was caddying, I came home and here's the money. Here's the money. One of 7.
Hope it was Noonan.
One of 7 kids. Imagine being 12 or 13, and you're seeing the food in front of you, and knowing you paid for that. A 12-year-old, 13-year-old. Then so I started hiding money in the wall, in aluminum foil. It was my escape.
Tony
plan.
Soprano.
It was my escape plan. I was just 14. I'm like, all right, if I have money, if it gets really bad, I'll just leave with my little money I got in the wall.
A heavy load for a young man to carry. His younger brother saw Gregg being forced to grow up early.
I was the parent when I was very, very young. Very young. My brother took me to the side recently. He's like, man, I remember Mom would ride you and make you worry. And this is where the money thing comes from, by the way. And make you worry about money, like telling you all the financial problems of the family. And I remember thinking, God, he's not old enough to understand this or like be able to deal with what she's saying to him.
And it makes so much sense now when you go back and listen to him talking about his childhood and trying to avoid growing up.
When you learn about sex for the first time, it could be a scary thing.
Sure.
I ran up into an apple tree. I wouldn't come down for almost a day.
Is that true?
I swear to God.
Like you ran up into an apple tree?
Doesn't that sound like Pa Ingalls had to talk him down?
Really, I've told the story many times, but I went to grammar school one day. I think it was around 6th grade, and all of a sudden it was the day they separate everybody, girls over here, guys over here, and then we all march into the gym and the big doors in the middle, and then they show the film.
Right.
Not the film.
And then they ended it by saying, we informed your parents that you saw the film today, and that if you have any questions, you might want to discuss the film with your parents. That freaked me out so much. I ran home and I ran up into an apple tree, and my dad's down below telling me to come on down. It's okay. It's okay. We
talking
can
you down.
this. And I'm like, I was just too young to
weirdest,
really want to deal with that crap. It was about, whiskers growing and other things growing.
Was your body
hair
changing?
Huh? Oh, yeah. It was that whole thing. I was like, I don't want to deal with this, man.
And I've only told this once. My family, we're bath people. We take baths. And I remember around 12, 13, I started getting like pubic hair. But I was still into my baseball cards, my Little League, my 10-speed bike, all that kid stuff. So I didn't want to acknowledge that I might be growing out of being a kid. So I shaved that shit right off. I was like trying to avoid.
Wow, because you want to avoid being a grown-up?
I didn't know I didn't know what it meant. I wasn't ready for it. So I was like, this.
Get rid of this stuff.
Get rid of it. I'm not ready for this.
Sure, out of context, it sounds hilarious that he did those things, but think about it. This boy was being forced into an adult role, a role he clearly was not ready for. All he wanted to do was be a kid. It was during this time that he was given the nickname Opie.
I'm reading one letter. Opie, is that your real name?
No.
If it is, I apologize for the years of abuse you must have taken as a child.
Trust me, I didn't make up this name. And it's not a radio name. I got it when I was like 11 or 12. I was the only one. I was the only one in 6th grade that didn't have a nickname. And damn Julie Burson.
What'd she do?
She decided I needed a nickname. So it was between the kid from Lost in Space, Will Robinson, and like Howdy Doody.
Oh dear. Yeah. Come here, young boy. Dear William. Whoa! Yeah, I guess Opie was better.
Yeah, it was much better. So.
Mom.
Hi.
Hi, what's up?
Why didn't you tell the guy the whole story about Opie?
What was the other part?
Did you look like Ron Howard when he was little on the series?
But who wants to know that? Because now he's losing his hair. When you say Ron Howard now, everyone thinks balding, middle-aged director.
He would share stories on O&A about not receiving proper dental care due to his parents trying to save money.
That's a good one. That dentist thing's. I mean, I growing up, I was one of 6, 8, 10, 11, depending on the decade.
Yeah.
I don't know how many kids we had in my family. I know I'm like one of 7, but then there were others, whatever. We never went to the dentist. My parents, let us eat whatever the hell we wanted.
Home dentistry?
And made believe it wasn't going to damage our teeth. And then, you get to an age where you want to, take care of your teeth.
Take care of it when you're old enough.
And next thing you know, you're working a full-time job just to pay the dentist bill. So thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
Teeth!
Thanks. No, really. Eating candy wasn't going to do anything.
Yeah.
I at one point I had to get all my fillings taken out and then had the white ones put in so it looks like I have almost normal teeth.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom and Dad. Really. All that dentist thing. Save a few bucks. Are you kidding me?
That would be a nightmare, having to take
6
kids to the dentist. Because they just are not going to like it.
And never getting the in-ground pool his father talked about.
We had a big backyard. My dad had this dream of putting a pool in. Guess what? We never got the fucking pool, but he talked about it enough.
Cemented it.
Yeah. He did cement.
Cemented the
around
backyard.
where the pool might have been.
Yeah.
His parents borrowed money from his maternal grandmother, which later caused tension when they couldn't pay it back.
Told all the stories. She sued my mom when we were all little kids because my mom and dad needed a little loan.
Sue everyone.
They weren't paying back my mom's mom fast enough, so my mom's mom decided she has to sue her own daughter that has 6, 7, possibly 9 kids at home, depending on what year it was.
Depending on what's in the attic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Judge Koch would throw that case out.
Yeah.
So to the credit, my mom's credit, she blew off her own mom because she knew it was an unhealthy situation.
It's not hard to understand the financial struggle of a family that large. Unfortunately for Gregg, this was not the only area of his childhood that was difficult. He was always very guarded about the things he shared on the radio, and tended to stay very on the surface, a point of contention with his ex-co-host Jim Norton.
The amount of my personal life I expose on this radio show is astronomical. Now, I know with a family you can't expose all that stuff, but you literally give 5% of that, 10% of that, and you expect me to, or other people to expose their personal life, and everything I do that's embarrassing or humiliating or in the moment, I talk about.
Right.
And then it comes down to, we're joking the other day about something, and somebody says something like, what's your song? Like, you're talking about the wedding song or something. You're like, oh, you put me on the spot. Like you don't even want to offer that up.
However, in the later years of the O&A show, he did start to open up about his mother's mental health issues and their effect on his childhood. He has said that he doesn't have a memory of her not being on medication. She also spent time in inpatient treatment, with her absences being explained to the children as her being, quote, on vacation. He has said that she was extremely manipulative and always made everything about her. One story from his childhood he told on his podcast gave very clear insight into the emotionally manipulative and dysfunctional environment he grew up in, where his mother was concerned.
No, if my mom had a problem with us, how she dealt with that was to go upstairs with scissors and cut your head out of family photos.
With a mother suffering from mental health issues, Gregg clung to his father and put him on a pedestal.
My dad fucking ruled because his whole job was to, like, keep us away from the craziness. And then when he passed, oh, my God, I had no idea what he was dealing with. Oh, my God, I'd kiss him right on the mouth. And my dad sacrificed his life for my mom, basically, and she had the nerve to recently say that, I was thinking of divorcing your dad. Why are you? He's not even here to defend himself, so shut the fuck up. He made mistakes like anyone does in their lives, but he was a fucking saint.
His dad was the one constant, the rock, the one who did what he could to shield Gregg and his brothers and sister from her illness-induced behavior.
Well, what happened was, growing up, one of 7 kids, and my mom, has OCD really bad and liked everything neat and orderly. So our rooms had to be perfect.
Oh, boy.
Or the rooms would pretty much end up outside at times.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
sometimes you come home from school and you got stuff on the driveway.
So that,
because you didn't clean up. I mean,
that definitely made an impact.
Oh, yeah. And even if, the room was perfect, except there was a pair of, sneakers that were kind of askew off to the side, that then all hell would break loose at times. Maybe a slight exaggeration, but it was rough.
But his dad had limitations, and even he couldn't always protect them.
Whenever I had my mom in a corner growing up, where I finally had her on some she would every single time go, I'm sick. End of discussion.
Oh, that was it, huh?
End of discussion.
Oh, boy.
Can't do anything else after that, right?
That's it. That's the ace in the hole.
Instead of, no, you really did the it. Hey, I'm mentally ill.
Now
okay.
Now you're not allowed to.
Yeah, exactly.
Say anything else.
Oh, really?
That would end. That would end that discussion.
Oh.
And I don't think I speak for myself here today. I think so many people have to deal with that crap.
Damn.
People use it kind of like
Or I would get my dad and go, look, I got her. This is how f***ed up this is. And he would say the same shit. She's sick.
It's the get out of jail free card.
Yeah, every time. Every time.
What would you catch somebody, just like normal grown-up stuff? Like you said you were going to do this and you didn't do it, or you yelled at me in front of somebody, or whatever it is?
That goes way beyond that. Dumb stuff. Leaving your shoes out or something in your very clean room could get her going.
That would trigger massive yelling.
And then your whole room would be destroyed. It's like, well, that makes sense. You wanted a clean room, and because the shoes are in the middle of the floor, the whole room needs to be destroyed now. Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay, that makes sense. And then I would go and, talk to my pops about it because he was the sane one. Oh, she's sick. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to go upstairs now and hopefully glue half my back together.
Break your shit?
Jesus Christ. You're right. I'm sorry. Sorry that I brought this to your attention. Hopefully I can salvage some of the shit. Maybe that's why I don't have any in my life.
I'm expecting it to be broken at any moment. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You got some crazy glue because, you know, some stuff.
How ironic.
Some stuff that I consider very valuable as a 12-year-old is now smashed.
It seems that volatility runs in the family. Just listen to how he describes his maternal grandmother.
I had the one awesome grandma, my dad's mother.
Yeah.
And then I had my mom's thing, who was a raving, a lunatic. She was a raving lunatic. She was a no good woman. She was never officially my grandma in my eyes.
Yeah.
We had to call her Aunt B, whatever the hell. And that was before I was nicknamed Opie, by the way.
That's really bad if there's two Mayberry references in your family.
Absolutely. My mom blew off her own mom for the sanity of us kids. Around 8 or 10 was the last time I saw my mom's mom. But my mom's mom, pure evil.
Wow.
Pure evil.
What? I'm deeply offended by the Cheerios commercial that Aunt brought to our attention. Because guess what? I wouldn't want to have Cheerios with my Nana.
Yeah.
One of my Nanas was a complete and utter crazy lunatic.
Whoa.
Who yelled and screamed at little kids.
Insensitivity.
When Nana came over, we didn't have Cheerios with her. Know why? We were hiding in closets upstairs.
Would you really hide in the closet when your grandma came over?
Oh,
I used closet, but wherever we could find a place to hide.
How is in the closet offensive too? I haven't figured that out yet.
We all hid.
Even though he means literally, he was hiding in the closet, not like
I pumped
hiding in the closet.
I pumped up the story. We went upstairs to our rooms and just stayed in our rooms when Nana was over with a box of Cheerios, wondering who's going to eat with her.
Yeah. Nobody was coming downstairs for breakfast?
No, because that could mean the whole bowl of Cheerios was going to, be dumped on your head because you were excited kid about something.
His mom's struggle with mental illness impacted Gregg not only in his childhood, but also as an adult, as he not only carried the emotional scars, but he appeared to adopt some of her tendencies.
Well, my mom has OCD, and I'm starting to think that maybe I have a little bit of it, too.
Yeah?
A little bit. Yeah, it's not that... It really isn't that bad.
Well, actually...
It isn't? No, it's not that bad. I mean, I know I kind of like things orderly and neat, but it's not an obsession or a problem yet.
As we move forward in time, we will see this on full display when we discuss his personal and professional relationships. He attended and graduated from Harbor Fields High School. During his teen years, he enjoyed playing basketball.
I was really good at basketball growing up. I thought I was going to be the next Larry Bird, but I never grew. No, I was really good. I'm serious.
No, I know.
And I used to play with all the brothers and stuff, the Schwoogies, and I took on their culture. A little bit. We went to basketball camp every summer, and I would hang in their neighborhoods and listen to some not really rap music. I was doing
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
No, I was doing my Zeppelin and stuff. But I had this friend Gary, who was a light-skinned black, and we would play a lot of pickup games, during the off season. I've told this story a million times, but it's the God's honest truth. It was the first time I ever said the N-word, okay? Oh. So I was feeling comfortable hanging out with the brothers, really comfortable, because, we were at each other's houses. I'm playing hoops with them. We're traveling together, going to basketball camp. You get it, all right? I'm feeling it, okay? And we're playing this pickup game, and every time one of the brothers scored, they're like, nice shot, nigga, nice shot, and all that crap, right? Uh-huh. So my buddy Gary hits a three-pointer, and I turn to him as we're running back down the court, and I go, nice shot. But I said it like a brother would, right? I didn't even actually officially say the whole word before I was knocked out cold on the basketball court.
Of course you were, you dolt.
Who knocked you out?
He did. And he was my friend.
Yeah, sure.
But we turn around after he made the shot, and I'm thinking I'm just one of the guys now. I'm not thinking skin color. I'm like, well, man, I've been hanging with you guys for a while. I think it's time we take this relationship to the next level. So I turned to him and I started to say, yeah, nice shot. And I got it. I probably got the whole word out. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I mean, I was literally knocked out.
Did you end it with an A or an ER?
Back then, I think it was AZ.
Oh.
So did that end your friendship with him?
Yeah, that was the day I gave up basketball and I bought a skateboard.
He went on to attend State University of New York at Geneseo, where he pursued a career in communications and participated in Rush Week.
There was another time. This was when I was rushing. This is a legendary story, and the girl never pressed charges, so it's okay.
She actually partied with us the next day. Thought it was actually very cool. When I was rushing the fraternity, that's where you go to the fraternity houses and they try to convince you to pledge their fraternity.
Yeah.
And all the brothers come back from all over the country, you know. So when I was rushing, there was a girl. They bring the sorority over, and we were having a huge party. And this girl decided that she wanted some, I guess. But this girl had no problem by the whole fraternity. I remember it like it was yesterday. There was a keg outside the room, and the brothers all lined up with just their underwear on and took turns. And there was a long line all the way down the hall. I didn't partake, by the way. No, there was so much on her, it wasn't even funny. Because they weren't nice about it either.
He did pledge a fraternity and considered quitting in the middle of Pledge Week, but was talked out of it.
And then I tried to, leave halfway through pledging. And I got a little visit from some brothers. And basically, they said in a very nice way, just stick it out. They're like, trust me, just stick it out. It's not good if you quit in the middle. They pretty much made it clear that my life would be miserable. So I got through it, and then I saw the other guys that did drop out, and they would get the out of them basically. And guys would get, guys would transfer and stuff. Yeah, they were scared.
He would go on to describe what happened during Hell Night.
There was something during Hell Night. It's kind of like an obstacle course around the house. One stop was the bathroom. The brothers yelling and screaming that there was a big fat Eggo pig that took a dump in the toilet. Everyone was outraged that this big fat Eggo pig from the sorority,
Eggo,
one of the sororities, took a dump in the fraternity bathroom, and we had to get rid of that. We had to get rid of that. As in, take your hands and get a good one. We were told later that it was bananas, and then one of the grand finales was that we had a. So we're in our underwear doing the obstacle course around the house, with the grand finale that waited for us in the basement, which was can't give that away because I'll get killed. We had to play Bomb the DK House, our rival fraternity. Bomb the DK House. I guess they had a little house set up. I don't know, because we were blindfolded, a doll house. And we had to pick up the bombs, not using our hands. The bombs, I believe, were marshmallows. And then you had to waddle over to the house
and drop the marshmallow.
And then Hell Night was over, and then it got back to, that's the weird part, then it got back to just one big party and banging broad.
He excelled in his studies and was even paid to teach his senior year.
When I was at Geneseo, by the time I was a senior, I was actually teaching production to the freshmen and the sophomores because the teachers didn't know how to do it. But the teacher was so out of touch, he really didn't know how. Like, he was teaching the class to begin with, and I was rolling my eyes like, you got to be kidding me. So I started telling the teacher what to do and stuff, and then eventually he's like, maybe you should teach the class. So I was like one of those student-teacher people.
I never liked those.
Yeah, I was that guy, though.
Too involved in the whole teaching process. I never even wanted to be there.
I was getting a paycheck as a senior in Geneseo.
Really?
Teaching this class, and which went right right to the bar to drink and stuff.
During his time at Geneseo, he worked at the college radio station, WGSU 89.3. This will become a point of interest later. In 1986, he graduated from Geneseo and went on to work part-time for WCQ in Geneva, New York. In 1988, he moved to Rochester, where he not only worked in the promotions department, but also pursued television work.
Hi, I'm Opie, a starving radio personality. I need TV work. Call me, this number right here, okay? Let's check out some videotape. Hi, I'm Opie from WCMF. It's your life, but if you mess around with drugs or alcohol, it's more than just your life you're hurting. Think about your family. Think about your friends. Think beyond the moment. WCMF and 31 care about you.
Let's go to the fishbowl. Opie?
And we are back at the fishbowl. Let's hear some noise in here. Come on, guys. Yeah! We got some little folks who want to put some money in the fishbowl. Go ahead. Thank you very much. I would like to thank Pam Hume, Ella Friedman, Betty Brown, Aaron Becker, and Gerald Becker for their generous support today. And I know there's a lot of rock and rollers out there, like Led Zeppelin, Guns N' Roses. Why don't you give us a call right now, 325-0500. If you don't, I just might have to sing, and that's going to be ugly. So give us a call, 325-0500. Gabe, back to you.
WROC TV8 and Coca-Cola heat up Rochester with our Coke TV8 teas. Be spotted wearing your TV8 tee and win great prizes from Silo, Fortecular, and the House of Guitars.
And we're celebrating the start of Midway Airlines service to Rochester. I'm Gregg Hughes at the Rochester International Airport. We've been coming to you live throughout the day, introducing some of the innovative programs that Midway Airlines is bringing to Rochester's business air travelers.
And we'd like you to see these phones, and Opie is on top. Opie is on top of a ladder, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Gabe, I thought you guys like me, man. You got to get me off this thing. 325-0500. This is a nosebleed seat up here, man.
Charlotte, Ontario, Haviland, East Rochester. Just a few to go.
By the way, I'm scared of heights up here.
He would join Brother Wheeze's morning show as an intern, and Gregg credits Wheeze with teaching him the proper way to do radio. One of the most important lessons was using his natural speaking voice on the air, as opposed to the typical quote-unquote radio guy voice. This was actually really good advice, as it was not common practice in those days. You could flip from station to station and swear you were listening to the same DJ.
I want to tell you something. I had a little squishy cow that I was to drop if I got into trouble.
So you just think that little of yourself, that you thought you would never cure cancer or cure AIDS or...
Yeah, you'll be entertained by the fabulous Tony Kornheimer, whatever his name is, and...
You know what really kind of upset me? And again, I view this as a team thing. Ew.
The Black Eyed Peas, I got a feeling on all the hits, B103.9. It's 8 minutes after 8 o'clock. You're tuning into...
Government, the official Chinese government. Mao said political power goes out of the barrel of a gun. He killed about 80 million people.
But along with good habits, Opie picked up one bad habit that always bothered me as a listener. Burping into the microphone.
You know, because it is Comedy Central.
Yeah.
And, but there's a girl named Joanne, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but I think it's Grugioni. I think how you pronounce it. But she's been, as a executive, very, 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 I have to give her credit, man.
Yeah.
Wheeze remains a close friend and mentor of Gregg's to this day. During his short stay in Rochester, he dated a girl whom he described as a 10. The clip you're about to watch came from the YouTube channel 494 Gigs of O&A. I will put a link to it in the description.
Did I ever tell you that I lost a chick to John Stamos, too?
Did you?
Yeah.
Really? That's not bad.
Yeah, I lost
bad
a chick to John Stamos. I was going out with this... she was gorgeous, man.
Do you think he took her to Red Lobster?
Well, what happened was I was doing radio in Rochester, going out with... I mean, she was in a couple magazines. Let's just put it that way. She won some competitions.
Yeah.
And but she was a coke. Well, I don't know the part. Well, I got something, but I didn't have to do the coke.
What's
thing.
the but? Where's the problem?
So, I think I found my dream woman, except for the little problem she had.
Yeah.
But she was like a 10, so I was like, you don't notice things.
You look past stuff like coke addiction.
So then she comes down to New York for, I don't know, I'm trying to remember, like a vacation or something.
Yeah.
Ends up hooking up with John Stamos before he was famous.
Oh.
Lost the chick to John Stamos.
Before famous John Stamos?
When he was when he was Blackie
on the General
operas.
Hospital.
Yeah.
Still a handsome guy, though.
Used to watch that show years ago. Sure.
Anyway, getting back to this.
Gave me Red Lobster money.
Getting back to this.
Some of that Red Lobster monies.
And yes, her pictures are out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Good luck finding it.
After leaving Rochester in 1989, he spent the next 2 years in Buffalo at WUFX, working the midnight to 6 a.m. shift. He was not making much money and lived in a brownstone in a less than desirable neighborhood, but it was close to the station. Given the area, you would think he would always make sure his door was locked. Well, one day Gregg didn't, and he got the fright of his life.
What I'm about to tell you is no radio exaggeration. This is exactly how it happened.
What you're about to hear is shocking.
This is exact. Okay, I was doing overnights in Buffalo,
And so I was sleeping a lot of days and stuff, blah, blah, blah. I was in this brownstone that had, you know, in a crappy neighborhood, North Pearl Street, which was like, there were a lot
Crappy neighborhood, Buffalo.
Yeah, well, it was like a lot of heroin addicts, a lot of druggies. You know, I wasn't making much money in
Buffalo.
And my apartment was very close to the station, so it was convenient. But it was a safe building. You had to get through 2 doors and then your apartment door to get to the person. Okay.
Right.
Anyway, so I'm in Buffalo, and it was a brownstone, and yeah, the front 2 doors were always locked, but I didn't lock my door for some stupid reason. I have no idea to this day.
Why?
I have no idea. It was just dumb. You know, I was like on the 4th floor in the back. I figured, I don't know. I just didn't.
It's insanity.
So
asking for it.
Around this time in Buffalo, there was a that they were very, very concerned about. A black, swear to God, very, very concerned about. They did some stories on the news. You know, here, he there, he here, blah, blah. Right.
Oh, no.
So I'm sleeping on I think it was a Saturday or Sunday, in the middle of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some idiots in the building, like Anthony was just talking about, they were moving out. So they didn't want to be inconvenienced, so they propped open both the bottom doors. So this was, gave somebody the opportunity to sneak in while you're going back upstairs to get more stuff.
Right.
So this is all I remember. I'm out cold, laying on my side, and I wake up because I guess I feel a presence in my room.
Oh, boy.
This is the God's honest truth, man. I open my eyes to see a black guy in a hooded sweatshirt with the hood, pulled down really tight around his head, staring at me 2 to 3 inches away from my face. My heart was in my throat. I open up my eyes, and the only thing I could say is, "What are you doing here?" And I had long hair back then. I was doing the rock thing. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't going to make the first move. I didn't know what. I was waiting to see what the hell this is all about. And obviously it couldn't be good. So I open my eyes. I go, "What are you doing here?" He looks at me. I look at him. And then he jumps up and bolts and runs out of my apartment. I'm like, "Oh, my God, oh, my God." I jump out of bed like, holy crap, what the F? He runs out. He didn't take anything from my apartment is the key to the story. So now, thinking about everything that went on that day, I'm thinking he was looking to rape again.
Yes.
And he saw this opportunity. This brownstone is wide open because these people are leaving.
Long blonde-haired girl laying in bed.
Exactly. So he goes into this apartment, starts trying for doors that are unlocked. Bingo, mine's unlocked. He goes in, carefully. Sneaks into the bedroom, sees me maybe with my long hair on the pillow. I don't know.
Yes, flowing.
And now he's looking. Real close to see if I'm a chick or not. That's the only thing I could think of. Scariest moment of my life. So, and then I was able to run out of the building to see him sprinting down the road.
Yeah.
And that was the last I ever saw of the dude, obviously. So.
In addition to the overnight shift, he worked afternoon drive on the weekends from 2 to 6. One weekend, the station was running a Pick Your Stones promotion, where listeners could call in and request their favorite Rolling Stones song.
The radio station came up with this bright idea, because the Stones had another album coming out or something. Pick Your Stones Weekend. They had all the laser.
You're listening to Pick Your Stones Weekend on the home of rock and roll.
Pick Your Stones Weekend.
It's like, So basically, the concept was you call in and you pick a Stone song, and me as the stupid DJ, I push the button and you get to hear your Stone song as you're driving around miserable Buffalo. Well, they have a huge convention center in Buffalo, and the home of rock and roll was there, and they had the speakers on the van. It was like a car show or something. Thousands of people there, not exaggerating. It was just the thing to do in Buffalo. There's not many things to do, so everyone went to the convention center, and actually it was called the Fox, I guess. The Fox was cranking out the radio station, and I was on the air. So this girl calls up and totally f***ed me, man. And I almost got fired. I had to beg for my job. I go to the phones and, "Hi, the Fox. Is this Pick Your Stones Weekend?" "Yes, it is. What do you want to hear?" "Can I hear Star Star by the Stones?" "Of course. What's your favorite radio station?" "The Fox." "That's right." And I start the song.
A song he had never heard before, nor did he hear it while it was played in its entirety. See, Gregg had a habit of turning down the monitor while the music played.
So back in those days, right, I would turn down the monitor and go, so anyway, and I would have phone sex and talk to hot chicks and bitches on the phone.
Normally, he could get away with it, but this particular Saturday afternoon, it almost cost him his job.
I have no idea what's playing at the convention center in front of a couple thousand people, right?
He only knew there was a problem when the hotline phone began to ring.
And all of a sudden the hotline is and I'm like really flirting with this Buffalo Betty, big time, and I have no idea what's going on with this song. And now I'm like, so what do you look like? Really? Well, I get off at 6 p.m. You want to meet on the corner? I'll do the drive-by to see if you're not a fat pig. And I would make believe it. I would tell them I'm driving a pickup truck and I had a Honda. No, I'll drive by in my pickup truck, and if they were hot, you stop. If not, you're in a different car. You just keep going. Yeah. So what a creep. So the hotline is ringing, and it's counting down. The song's over. And then Mike Benson, really good guy, he's still up in the area doing radio. He's like, dude, do you know what you just played?
Oh, no.
And then he told me, and I swear to God, I went white. I went white, and I saw my career, which was just beginning. And I'm like, and then the next call, the hotline's ringing. It was him first. And I swear to God, I went white. I'm like, there's no reason why they would keep me. I have nothing. I'm just starting out. And then sure enough, the next call was the hotline. I want to see you in my office Monday morning at 9 a.m. But you know what? I think the only reason they kept me, I was working like 70 hours a week and making like $12,000. So
it's cost effective.
I think that's the only reason they didn't fire me, because they were getting a lot out of me,
During some of his time in Buffalo, he had a girlfriend. He said she was cheating on him, but he didn't see the signs. Now listen to how he describes this girl.
So, anyway, I was in Buffalo and I started dating this girl, and she was really, really hot, but she was a psychopath. But this girl was like, literally could have been a Playboy model, but she was a psycho bitch. But I'm like, psycho factor, who cares?
Guys go for the
I could get over
girls.
that. I could get over that. So the relationship goes horribly wrong because she had this boyfriend that was a addict still in the picture, even though she told me that the guy wasn't in the picture. One of those things, right? And we finally, I finally just had enough. She keeps telling me she's not seeing the guy, and I just knew she was seeing the guy, so we broke it off. So then I started dating other women, and this is where it gets up. She didn't want me at all, but she didn't want me going out with anybody else. It's a very small city, and Allen Street was where all the bars were at the time, and, some word got around that I'm, kind of back on the scene banging broads. And back then, it wasn't my choice. I really wanted this girl, but I was like, all right, what am I going to do? She doesn't want me. So then she found out, so she proceeds to, while I was down on Long Island interviewing for WBAB, where Anthony and I eventually would meet, I got the job to do nights, but while I was down interviewing and stuff, she proceeded to leave 20 messages on my answer machine of her blowing her boyfriend, the coke addict, but she's on tape just moaning, and she's drunk. It sounds like she's on some kind of drugs and stuff. I'm like, holy crap! I'm thinking this is really hot. But then all of a sudden it went drastically wrong, because I really fell for this girl. I really liked her right here in the heart. Okay, so all of a sudden she goes, "Guess who's here?" as she's moaning.
Oh no!
And all of a sudden she goes, "Randy, why don't you say hi?" Puts the phone down, and he's in the middle of, doing his thing. I'm a radio guy, obviously, so I take the tape into the radio station, and I made a greatest hits of the 20 phone calls, and then proceeded to put it on her mom's answer machine, her grandfather's
payback.
answer machine. She lost her father, so the grandfather was the father figure, and the grandfather thought, oh, my girl never does anything wrong. So I had to straighten him up. I put it on his answer machine, and the mother, who just hated this guy, the ex-boyfriend of hers,
wonder why,
thinking that she moved on and stuff. Oh no, put it on her machine, and then I proceeded to play it on Valentine's Day every year after that for many years on the radio.
Nice.
So
whatever happened, you never talked to her again?
She calls me every 2 years, yeah.
Still?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's a psycho broad. I haven't heard from her in at least, I don't even know, maybe 3 years now. But she had Rick James stories and stuff, because Rick James was from Buffalo. Supposedly.
You don't want to go near a girl with a Rick James story.
Wow. Yeah, supposedly, because she was like a little party girl in Buffalo, and supposedly she did some time with Rick James. She was a real trooper, though, man. I mean, she was the type of girl you pull off on the side of the highway and right on the hood of the car, right at the rest stop. This girl loved to just go at it. Cool. She would bring me to the Pete Boots, and she'd be the only woman there. And,
Peep shows, yeah.
Peep shows. She'd drag. This was a date. She drags me into the peep booth, and she has the quarters, puts the quarters in, and get right on her knees and just go at it. And all the guys, all these pervs are in the main room, just all, checking out this girl on her knees.
Hard to believe that didn't last.
She was way ahead of me. That is the truth, man.
Sounds a lot like the girl he said he lost to John Stamos when he was in Rochester. In fact, I'm 90% certain he's talking about the same woman in both stories. When he talked about playing the sexually explicit voicemails on her mother's answering machine, he also mentioned playing them for her grandfather. Well, in a 2005 interview for Christian Activities, Terry spoke of her childhood and living with her mother and grandfather. So he has told two different versions of a story about the same woman from two different time periods. Obviously, I cannot say with any level of certainty how much, if any, of either story is true. What I can say with certainty is that this is not the only time Gregg will contradict himself when recounting certain events of his life. Back on the single scene, he didn't let his job interfere with what he referred to as putting up numbers. He would entertain ladies during his shift, even recording his escapades for the morning DJ Bearman in an attempt to get more attention that he hoped would translate into additional airtime.
I had a regular girl that would come down after the bars closed, and she would take a cab to the radio station because she had no money, and she would do all sorts of things, and I'd have like the board op from the AM station, do my show for me. I would tape breaks, like, here's Van Halen on the Fox, the home of rock and roll in Buffalo.
Home of rock and roll. You never hear that one.
I'll be back after another 20 minutes of music. Here's Led Zeppelin. So I would tape all that, and the AM guy would put it all together, play the songs, and play my breaks. And I would go in the production room with this hooah and put it all on tape, and then play it back for the morning guy. This was my in. This actually helped me, get a little higher in this stupid radio world. Because I was trying to get this guy to notice me. I was just stupid overnight guy. Like, who cares? Morning guys don't acknowledge the overnight guy when you're in this radio thing.
Sure.
So I'm like, how can I get his attention? And he saw that I was like just out of control with the women and stuff. So I started, taping it for him, and then I would play it, for him when he was preparing for his radio show. And that helped me get in a little better.
Helped you along.
Oh, yeah. And then he started getting into work really early because he wanted to hear the latest sexcapade that I had on tape for him. Yeah.
He began making appearances on the Bearman's morning show, and it was there that his infamous character, Spuds Buckley, was born.
Buffalo's home of quality rock and roll. 6:36. Gracious, good morning. You're on your way with the Bearman. We got the whole Fox crew. We're here at the... at the reviewing stand for the first annual Fox Fools Parade. We're located just 1/2 mile west of Furman Boulevard near Shooters, and they're still working on getting some of the barriers.
Some of these vendors we got over here, they want to know where the hell they're supposed to be.
Vendors. Let's look at the page. Well, la 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 la. Good morning, Bearman. Ladies and gentlemen, put them together for Spuds Buckley.
I'm here to make a buck this morning.
Spuds, when aren't you here to make a buck, huh?
Hey.
So do you have your vendor permit?
Yeah.
I'll trust you, okay?
Okay.
Despite pulling double duty at the station, he was not making much money, only bringing in $12,000 per year, and was struggling to make ends meet. And while the character served him well in regard to experience and exposure, by Gregg's own admission, Spuds was not cool and was not getting him the Buffalo Betties. The saga of Spuds Buckley serves as Opie's origin story, and moving forward, it shaped Gregg both on and off the air. In my opinion, the next 4 minutes are the most raw and honest Gregg has ever been on the air when it comes to sharing his inner thoughts.
Stupid Spuds Buckley. God, I wish I could go back in time and punch Spuds Buckley right in his
I'd love to
face.
hear him talk just once.
And just kick him
I
in
want to
his
hear the voice.
still growing balls. He was a disaster. I hate Spuds Buckley. Oh, I would have just pushed him into traffic. Oh, what I would do to Spuds Buckley if I could time travel. Oh, you look cool with your bandana on. Ooh, wow. That'll get the chicks. What a douche. Oh, I think I'll tuck my my sweatpants into my socks. That's a good look, dude. Because that's what a douche like Spuds Buckley would look like. Oh, I would could kick his ass. I would cut out his vocal cords if I could jump in a time machine. That's what I would do to this Spuds Buckley. Spuds Buckley, fucking $14,000 a year. Ask for a raise. Oh, can I have a raise? No, you can't have a raise. Okay, boss, I'm sorry that I asked.
All right, I'm Spuds.
All right, I'll continue collecting cans and stuff to try to eat. No problem. I won't cause any problems here at your radio station. Spuds Buckley was a douche. Doing his own shift and then another 4 hours in the morning for no extra pay. Oh, that's Spuds Buckley. What a loser. Yeah, he was part of that fucking Young Opie show on that was doing overnights, and then he went into Spuds Buckley character for the morning guy who was making fucking 100 to 200 G's. While Spuds Buckley made his 12,000, barely paying his rent, barely eating. Oh, that's okay, everybody, though. I understand.
How'd the name come about?
Use me.
That's a good question.
It's probably given to me, because why would he come up with something on his own? That little douche. I hated Spuds Buckley. Hated everything about him.
I don't like the way Spuds represents the things in yourself that you don't like. You're talking right now to Young Opie.
Young Opie's done with his show. Now it's time to go in the bathroom with his Spuds Buckley costume. Oh, where are they going to send him today? Oh, I don't know, but this is exciting. This is how you break into morning radio.
Yeah.
Oh, I could kick him in his man. That's what I would do. Hey,
rules.
What do you think of the Spuds Buckley Super Bowl song? Iron Mike Benson, come in here and listen to this. What do you think? It only took me 500 takes, but I'll make believe it was 2 takes.
Oh, it's great.
He stunk. Yes, it's Super Bowl Sunday.
Okay.
Oh, I would have loved to have heard that.
Might have sang a Grateful Dead tune, too, because,
Oh, no.
because that's wonderful.
Like which one?
In the Spuds voice?
Yeah, in the Spuds voice, yeah.
Just being crazy and wacky? Looking for some attention?
No wonder young Opie's girlfriend at the time was cheating on him with her old boyfriend the entire time. Oh, the signs were all there, but did young Opie pick up on any of them? Of course not.
Spuds couldn't see it.
I never heard of Spuds Buckley, but I hope he comes in with his baby.
Just fucking all over Spuds Buckley, young Opie. Work for $12,000 a year. Go out with a chick that was fucking cheating on you with a loser boyfriend that ends up dying of a drug overdose years later. Yeah, that's what she wanted instead of you. Oh, Spuds Buckley could suck on a big black. That's all I care about now. Time machine. Time machine. Head in the vice. That's what I would do to him. Oh, please don't fire me. I just didn't want to do that promotion. I'm sorry. I was embarrassed.
We'll do it.
I would choke Spuds Buckley with his Spuds Buckley costume. That's what I would do. I would point
invent Google.
I would go in a time machine. This is what I would do. I'd go in a time machine. I would find Spuds Buckley. And I'm sure he's still hoping that the Spuds Buckley character is going to take off. Probably been doing it for 10, 15 years at this point. Probably has a little paunch belly and squeezing into that old Spuds Buckley costume, are you? Because you were a one-trick f***ing pony. And I would just mock him. I would point in his face and openly laugh at him. Yeah. Make him feel like very, very small and little.
He was growing tired of the character, and one night after arriving at a club for an appearance, he reached his breaking point.
Spuds Buckley might have had to do a sales gig where they might have wanted...
Oh, no.
They wanted Spuds Buckley and not young Opie. How pathetic is that?
Did they know it was
and
the
they
same
might
guy?
have wanted Spuds Buckley to dress up in his Spuds Buckley costume.
Who doesn't want that?
Hope they were selling douchebags.
And Spuds Buckley said yes because he was desperate and he really was collecting cans to get some change to get a can of that fucking Chef Boyardee so he wouldn't starve. So Spuds Buckley agreed, and then he shows up and sees like really hot chicks going into the fucking bar and like real men walking into the bar, and now you're sitting in your car that's beat up and has close to 200,000 miles on it, and you might have a bag next to you that has your Spuds Buckley costume.
Oh, no.
And then you sit there in your car, and after you start crying at how pathetic your fucking life is, you finally step up and decide you're not going to put the Spuds Buckley costume in and make a complete ass of yourself. But that doesn't make the general manager of the radio station happy, and he pretty much wants to fire your ass. So now you're in his office begging, and there might have been a few tears begging that you really needed this gig. Please don't fire me.
Crying Spuds Buckley?
Please don't fire me, boss. I just couldn't go through it. and I just really couldn't do this Spuds Buckley character at a bar.
Successfully managing to not only keep his job, but also securing a raise. What became of the Spuds Buckley character? Did he shelve it completely after that night? No. No, he didn't. In fact, despite his own personal misgivings about the character, he had to be shamed into putting Spuds away for good after meeting with the Bear Man's replacement and offering to appear on his show in character.
And the new guy came in from L.A., and he was a bit hipper, a bit cooler. His delivery was very, like, he was just like he almost started the whole, I don't give a shit about doing this, I'm just doing it, in between acting roles in L.A. He had that attitude, right? And I might have offered up my Spuds Buckley services. And he might have told me that he didn't need Spuds Buckley on his morning show.
Oh,
so
Spuds got the boot.
So I was forced. I wish I could even tell people that I finally realized what a douche and just blow this fucking gimmick off, but no, I was told that he basically told me how stupid it was.
Gregg was unhappy and began making plans to leave Buffalo and move to California, leaving radio far behind. That was until he saw a posting for a night jock position back in Long Island.
Oh, yeah. I was ready to quit radio. The fact is, I was going to go out west and, I was going to be work at a
rodeo clown?
No, I was going to work at a ski resort. I was done with radio, yeah. And then I saw an ad in the trades for, a night jock at BAB, and I was like, what the hell? And I actually wasn't even going to send the tape because Buffalo was having a huge blizzard.
Yeah.
And I ran down to the FedEx office in this blizzard. True story, because you couldn't get a cab or a car anywhere near there. So I had to get there because they were going to make their decision for this gig. And sent the freaking thing, and the rest is history. Moved home, continued radio, met this clown, and here we are today. But I was this close. I was going to quit. I was done. And then I saw this article. I said, all right, I'll give it one more try, I guess.
In 1992, Opie returned to Long Island and hosted The Opie Show, also known as The Nighttime Attitude on WBAB.
It's Opie and the Nighttime Attitude Squeeze, of course, and Tempted. Sending that out to Sally in Levittown, faithful listener of the program.
He was successful in his time slot and was building a fan base. He even had a stalker.
I wonder if my cousin's listening, because I had a stalker big time. A real one when I was working at WBAB that bought me stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And BAB got this bright idea to have me celebrate my stupid birthday in front of fans. It was the most embarrassing thing ever.
Boy, they had some lame-ass ideas for you when you were on the air, man.
Hence the bitterness. But so BAB gets the idea to, I'll celebrate my birthday at one of the rock clubs. So they get a big sheet cake, right? And I'm there, and no one gives a crap. They just want to get drunk, and I don't care either. But this girl shows up that we go to some of the events here and there, and she was a big girl, about a size 4.
About 14.
And she comes in with
big fat person.
She comes in with 10 to 12 presents for me.
Get out of here.
10 to 12 presents for me.
Ooh, how embarrassing.
In front of everybody. And I'm like, oh my God. I just didn't even want to be seen with the girl. She was such a mess. I'm there with my cousin and I think one of my brothers, and we're just getting hammered and just, checking out the talent and the rest of the place, and this girl is just really, really blowing up my spot.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking to some girls with my cousin, and she's behind me with her her birthday gifts, and she's getting really mad because I'm not paying her attention. And I'm not opening her gifts because, first of all, it's just awkward.
Yeah.
It really is awkward, and I don't want to give her the time of day. Like, if now I open up her gifts, now what?
Right.
Now
you
what
have
is
a
she
relationship.
expecting? Right. She starts jumping up and down and stomping behind me to the point she made a scene. They had to get her out of the place.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah. And then I would talk about, jogging and stuff on my show, whatever, that I was running around the neighborhood. She figured out my exact route and would just conveniently be there. Sometimes hanging out on the corner in her car, other times just beeping as she went by. It got really weird. So you know how it ended? I swear to you. She was in a horrific car accident. I got word from, I don't even remember. This story goes way back, and I don't remember. Maybe another fan or someone that knew her. You know, someone that obviously knew I was concerned about this situation called up and said, you don't have to worry about her anymore. I'm like, why? She was in a horrific car accident. She won't be doing much of anything for the next few years.
So did she die or not?
I don't know. I never heard from her again.
Would you like to know what happened to her?
No.
In August 1994, WBAB held a song parody contest. Anthony Cumia, who worked construction and was in a band called Rot Gut with his brother Joe, heard about the contest and submitted their song, Gonna Electric Shock OJ. The song was a huge hit on Opie's show, so he invited them to come on live and play it.
Speaking of which, I think it's time to do Gonna Electric Shock OJ live on the Nighttime Attitude. It's Rot Gut. Check this out.
Sitting in Los Angeles jail, and that judge won't let me post my bail.
The appearance went extremely well, and Rot Gut was brought back numerous times to play live. The chemistry between Opie and Anthony was undeniable.
That's what someone just said. You know, they heard Pearl Jam's version of Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, and they were expecting to hear the OJ version.
He sounded like he was heavily sedated.
All right, I need a ruling. I started a new bit yesterday. Celebrity Death Watch.
Right, yep.
All right, you might have heard this last night. Monday, Jessica Tandy, the old broad from Driving Miss Daisy, died.
Hey, I'll take that contract. How old was she?
It's 85.
Oh, please.
Anyways, I don't know about you, but I've always been under the celebrities die in threes, basically. Always, right? So it's the Celebrity Death Watch. I guarantee 2 more prominent celebrities will die before October 1st. So we're just waiting and watching. George Burns in the hospital the other day.
It was a close call, very close call.
But he got out of it.
Yeah.
98 years old. He has, his brain is swelling.
He pulled out.
And he pulled out of it. I was like, darn.
I always wanted to see George Burns singing that extreme song. If you don't like what you see here, get the funk out. But he never does that.
Very good.
Maybe now, after he's bopped on the head.
But I need a ruling.
The two became fast friends, and it wasn't long before they started talking about working together as a radio duo. And Opie's life would never be the same. In February 1995, Ron Valeri was visiting Long Island and heard Opie and Anthony, who had only been working together less than 6 months, and liked them so much, he made them an offer to do afternoon drive in Westboro, Massachusetts. Before accepting the position, Gregg went to the management of WBAB to give them an opportunity to keep them, and he asked that he and Anthony be given the afternoon drive time slot, but they denied his request. Not only did they deny the request, but they had a separate meeting with Anthony.
They pulled him into a closed-door meeting and said, look, we want to give you Opie's show.
Yeah, they were going to then give me...
This was after 3 years of dedication to WBAB being the only show in recent years that had any type of buzz at all. And this is the thanks I got.
They came to me, knowing now that we have a job together. Me and Ope, we're going to AAF. They came to me and said, we want you to take over Opie's slot doing the 7 to midnight shift at BAB. Whatever you need, we'll put it in place. It'll be great. I think you're going to do well.
This is another moment in time that Gregg will talk about after the O&A show comes to an end, and it will be told through the lens of someone who, in my opinion, is bitter about where his career ended up. Opie, Anthony, and Anthony's wife Jennifer packed up everything they had, which wasn't much.
We got to tell Ron about the move real fast, though. So we decided we're going to go to Boston, and we don't have money. I was doing okay, and so we decided to rent a U-Haul and share the U-Haul.
Oh, shit.
So he pulls up to my, crappy place that he, told everyone about. And he left me like 2 feet in the U-Haul after telling me that there was plenty of room for my stuff.
You know why? Opie told me, dude, I just need 2 feet on the back of the U-Haul. I got nothing, dude. It's cool.
So I ended up just smashing my stuff in the front lawn.
Yeah, on the front lawn.
It was kind of freeing. I just broke everything that I was going to...
Anthony didn't even have a car, and they moved in with Jennifer's mother, Judy. Anthony and Jennifer moved out a month later.
Me and my ex are like, all right, I can't take living with your mom, and she was like, I can't take living with my mom. So we found a place immediately. Opie stayed there for 9 more months.
During his time with Judy, he was not the ideal house guest.
Living with my mother-in-law, breaking her Like, he'd walk with the phone, and the phone cord would be knocking over these Hummels that she had for years.
Hold on. Explain the phone cord, though.
Oh, God, you don't see phone cords like this ever.
It was like, am I lying if I tell you it's 30 to 40 feet?
It could get you from one end of the house to the other.
Yeah.
And it was all rolled up, like when you hung it up, it had rolled itself up into a beach ball-sized tangle. The wrecking ball would fly back toward the phone and break anything on the table. So it's like, one of my Hummels seems to be broken.
Where?
I had the where?
You're kidding. Oh, no. How did it break its little angel wing?
There's Opie trying to glue it together.
What happened to the arm on the I love you this much Hummel?
He also, according to Anthony, kicked her dog Chester in the stomach for eating his steak dinner.
Now I'm together again with Chester, and he has told me because in heaven you can talk to your pets because it's heaven.
Shut up!
Chester told me
Shut up!
that he...
Shut up! Hey, shut up! Shut up!
Oh, man.
Shut up!
Thank you.
Bullhorns in heaven, too.
See my day.
Shut up!
I love you guys. You ask for something and you get it. Chester told me that he didn't die of natural causes. Chester died from a kick to the liver.
Shut up!
A hard
kick to the liver delivered by Gregg Opie Hughes.
You can't confirm that.
Chester was very hungry one day, and he partook in a little bit of Opie's dinner. An entire steak and his potatoes. Prime rib. It was a prime rib.
If this was true, I would be eating prime rib.
And Opie went downstairs to watch the basketball game, and I heard a little yelping from Chester. And I went, Chester, are you okay down there? And he came limping up the stairs.
That's not true.
And he was never the same. I used to have to carry him up to bed. And then one day I was told he had a liver cancer, and he died. But we all know the truth now. The Lord told me that Opie had killed my dog.
How did I give your dog liver cancer? Explain that one.
You kicked my Chester in the liver.
And that caused cancer?
I heard him yelp.
And that caused cancer?
Yes, it caused something. Because he was in an urn for quite a while.
She remained very fond of him even after Anthony and Jennifer divorced.
Oh, but she loved him. She loved him. Didn't matter what he did.
Matter of fact, when Anthony had his demise with her daughter, she still hung the Opie and Anthony posters in her basement, but cut out Anthony.
Cut me out. Remember we had a big poster made up, and it was the cover of our CD Demented World, and it's me and Opie, and she left it hanging up, but just cut me out of the picture.
2 weeks after starting their new show, the man who hired them left the station for a job in New York. He was replaced with Dave Douglas, or as he would come to be known, Dave Dickless. Opie said he realized quickly that Dave had no idea what he was doing and couldn't be trusted. He said Dave cornered him in the break room and asked him why he wanted to have Anthony as a radio partner since he had no experience. Opie told him it was because Anthony was the funniest person in radio. From then on, the relationship between the guys and management was strained, with Dave being quite cantankerous. He would frequently try to steer the show away from certain topics, even calling them when they were on the air to stop them from going down a certain road.
Why are you on this line?
Well, I figured it was easier than getting out of my chair and coming down the hall.
Oh.
Just wanted to make a request.
Yeah.
Maybe we could steer the show in a little different direction so that this doesn't get out of hand.
What's getting out of hand?
Well, I think we're going into the gay zone, and we all know where that leads. Wouldn't you agree?
Not really, but...
Hokey pokey in the butt.
No.
Licky licky.
That's fun stuff.
Yeah, it's fun, but you know what? It's going to get us in trouble. Just, steer somewhere else. If you keep going this direction, it's going to be trouble. I'm just warning you. Not from me. I'm talking about outside. We've been down this road before.
The old dirt road.
Yeah. Just giving you a little heads up here.
All right.
Okay.
Head.
See you.
On April 1st, 1998, Opie had an idea for an April Fool's Day prank.
Hey, ma'am, can you believe about Mayor Menino?
What, being in Florida?
Well, you haven't heard?
No.
He was in a horrible car crash today.
Oh, no, what happened?
He died.
Get out of here.
It's going to hit the news at 6 o'clock. You watch.
Get out of here. Where did it happen?
Northern Florida. I guess he was driving to the airport to come back to Boston, and he was in an accident.
Are you kidding?
No, head-on collision.
To whom am I speaking?
This is Jim in charge of the news department here.
Really?
Yeah.
Jim, did I win any money?
We're just trying to get the reaction on the Mayor Menino thing.
Well, I called to see if I won any money. You haven't told me.
Our mayor died, and
I don't care about the mayor.
All you want is
all
money?
All I want is $1,000.
You're pathetic.
I know it. I am. I'm a typical Bostonian.
You're completely pathetic.
I am.
You don't even have any remorse for Mayor Menino's family?
No, I couldn't care less.
Why?
Because I don't live in Boston. He's not my mayor.
We want to give the money away to someone who lives in Boston and understands our city.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
In other words, I'm not winning, huh?
No, you're not winning at all. You're actually pissing me off.
Oh, really? Well, the same goes to you.
Whatever.
You're a ditto head.
A ditto head.
Oh, yes, you are.
Yeah, that's real original.
So, are you really working for RKO?
Our mayor's head went through the windshield a couple hours ago, and all you care about is winning money.
Are you really working for RKO?
Freaking slob.
Oh, quiet, you jerk.
Slob. Oh, there she goes.
The prank was believed by not only their listeners, but also members of the mayor's family.
One of my relatives was just coming out of the hospital, and somebody called and asked her, could we do anything for your family during this tragedy? And, she was shocked. My daughter, my wife, and a lot of my personal friends called the office there, and my staff were some of them crying.
By the time the guys got off the air and were leaving the station to go home, news crews were waiting. They gave perhaps one of the least sincere apologies ever given.
I caught up with the DJs outside their Westboro studios. Do you think saying the mayor was dead was crossing the line, though?
Yeah. I feel bad that the mayor's, wife heard it. Who knew that the mayor's family is fans of the Opie and Anthony show?
Used to be.
Honestly, I think it's stupid. I think anyone who listens to our show for the last 3 years knows what we're all about. We've done pranks like this for the last 3 years.
We apologize to the mayor and his family.
I am sorry, mayor and family. Seriously.
This apology was not accepted by the mayor.
I will not accept the apology this time because they went too far. I have a great sense of humor, but this is this is not a laughing matter at all.
Nor did it get them out of trouble, as they were suspended without pay the next day.
Now, the mayor plans to file a complaint with the FCC, and he may even sue the radio station. WAAF management says they've offered to let the mayor throw pies in the DJs' faces to raise money for charity, but tonight Opie and Anthony told me they will not go along with that. Sean?
All right.
And a week later, they were told their contracts were being terminated. The amount of press that this prank received was unprecedented and would give Opie and Anthony their first taste of what was to come.
First of all, the press followed us around. They did the 10 o'clock news on my front lawn. You could see me peeking out the window going, wow, what's going on out there?
Right.
They actually started the news from my
This
front
is
lawn.
great.
Right.
Look at all the attention.
They're banging on the door, trying to get my comment. I knew I had to shut my mouth, and wow, it was kind of scary.
Normally, losing a radio job would mean sending air check tapes to dozens of other stations across the country in the hopes of getting picked up somewhere else. A time-consuming and tedious process, to be sure. Add to that the uncertainty of not knowing when your next check would be coming. But the boys didn't have to worry about that. Why? Because Gregg had planned everything.
Not gonna lie, it was part of my master plan, so for a while I was too scared to mention that, but now, for many years now, I've admitted it. I was really, really pissed off. I knew that I had a great radio show that could take over the radio world. So April Fool's came rolling around 23 years ago today. I called up Anthony. I said, I got the idea. And I knew two things could happen. We would get fired for it, and then we would skate down I-95 all the way to New York and have a wonderful career down there. Or it would make us even bigger in radio, Boston radio specifically, and maybe that will lead to incredible opportunities. So I'm like, you know what? This is a win-win situation. So Anthony said, all right, yeah, whatever. All right, I'll see you later, you know. And we go to WAAF. I remember the moment we looked at each other like, are we really going to do this? And both of us basically had the look in our eyes, turned on the mics, and announced to Boston that the mayor of Boston, Mayor Menino, died in a fiery car accident while vacationing or while being in Florida. Wow! And I recruited one of my friends who still does radio to this day. He gets so nervous when I talk about this. I asked him if he could be like a news reporter out of Florida for us because he had that amazing radio voice. And he said, sure, no problem. What do you need? And I explained to him. So as the show went on, we went to him and he gave a news report that was very believable. Way more believable than us, by the way.
A gamble, to be sure, but it paid off tremendously. And they made their debut on New York radio on June 26, 1998. In the next episode, we will discuss how Opie and Anthony's friendship, Opie's romantic relationships, and in my opinion, his struggles with mental health affected the show and its legacy. Thank you for watching.